Hello, my name is Fawn Russell, and I am a Master's Library Information Science student at San Jose State University. I am currently in the fall semester of the year 2015 and taking a storytelling class. So this is my storytelling performance number 2. In this particular telling, I have chosen a favorite story from ancient Egypt from the Book of the Heavenly Cow. It is about the destruction of earth and the god Ra, and how his daughter Hathor became the goddess of beer and drunkenness. Many, many millennia ago, in the land of ancient Egypt, it was so old back then that they called it Kemet of the Black Land. Before the pharaohs, there was only one pharaoh, and that was Ra, the father of the gods. And as time went on, he watched over his people and his lands, and it was good. They gave worship and offering to him, and in return, he loved them. As time went on, the god grew old, and Ra became an old man. While he was old, he looked fondly on his children, the gods, and he was happy. But when he looked on the children of the earth, the humans, he noticed that they had fallen into great wickedness. No longer did they give him offerings or praise him. This angered Ra. He was so frustrated and distraught that he went into a deep depression. Finally, one day, he called together all of his children, the Netjer, to his palace and asked all of them, what can he do? The people no longer gave to him, and he felt so sad by the state of the world. All the different gods offered him whatever they could to try to appease him and make him happy. It was only until his favorite daughter, Hathor, came to the front that offered any kind of compassion or happiness. Hathor, after all, was the goddess of beauty and dancing and joy and love. And she said to him, "Father, why are you so sad? You are, after all, the king of the gods. What could be so awful to make you sad?" And it was only then that Ra turned to his daughter, told her, "My darling daughter, the people do not think of me at all. They think I'm old. They ridicule me. They make plays about me, making fun of me. This is not the way that we should be treated or remembered. Is there anything that you might do, please, to alleviate this suffering?" And in her thoughts, Hathor thought. And then she remembered how much she loved her father. And she became enraged at the people and at their wicked ways, and that they have forgotten their father and they no longer gave him honor. She cast off her dancing gowns, threw them to the floor, and her father turned to her and said, "Hathor, you will be my eye. Let me cast my eye upon them and destroy all who are in my sight." And as the rage began to fill Hathor, she began to transform into a lioness, and her blood rage was overwhelming. The gods began to shake, the earth began to tremble, and the people were afraid. And everywhere that they ran, they could not escape the eye of Ra, as Hathor's rage became stronger and stronger, and she began to rip and to tear and to eat the flesh of men and to tear down the animals, and until the rivers ran with blood. And she began to lap up the blood with her large, thick, velvety tongue. As the lioness, she cleaned herself and wiped off the blood from her mane. And she continued with this rage for a long, long time. And Ra was happy. He felt justified. He felt satisfied. And he was proud of his daughter. It was not until some time had passed, that Ra realized her rampage had not stopped. The other Netjer came around and they said, "Father, please, nobody can control Hathor. She is out of control. She has become Sekhmet. What shall we do?" Well, that gave Ra some chances to think. And he sent out his children to try and placate her, but nobody could do so. It was not until a decision had been made that they shall offer to her something that might appease her. And so they gathered huge barrels of beer, and the people gathered up ochre, and they used it to color the beer red as if it were blood. And in a great ceremony, they built a giant fire and surrounded it with the casks of red beer. And Hathor, in her rage, came tearing through the countryside, saw the blood, and knew that this was an offering for her, and was so ecstatic that she started drinking and drinking and drinking and drinking and drinking until all the beer was gone. And slowly the mane of the lioness began to melt back, and her roar turned into a purr as she was transformed back into Hathor. She had become so drunk that she forgot about her blood rage. And that is how they learned to tame Hathor. And she became once again the goddess of beauty and love. But now she is remembered in August during the months of the rains, that to appease her when the rivers would flood, they would appease her with beer and dance, and her priestesses danced through the streets with a minaret, which is a necklace about their necks. They would pull it, and there would be little chimes on it, or they would play a sistrum, which is an instrument much like this, and shake it and dance. In honor of Ra and his daughter Hathor.